Hello, Benjies. Take two. It's an inside joke. Welcome to a special edition, a Sunday edition of the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, or you can just call me Randy. And I am a speaker, trainer, and a podcaster. And I have a group of exceptional co-hosts. My first co-host, well, what can I say about this young lady? She is an actress. She's a writer. She's a director. For short, I just call her a superstar. Say what's up to the people, Miss Courtney Scott, right?
Hello. So glad to be here.
And
my next birthday weekend.
Happy birthday. And my next co-host, this is my guy, right? He is a serial entrepreneur. He's a game designer. He's part owner of the Geekish Network. Say what's up to the people, Chuck.
What it do, you all? Happy birthday, Courtney. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah.
You want us to sing happy birthday to you?
Happy 21st.
Appreciate it. Woo! I can drink now.
Shots for Courtney. Shots for Courtney. All right, everybody. And we are the BingeWorthy podcast. Now, the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series. And then we come right here to the BingeWorthy podcast to discuss that series. We will talk about the history, the characters, the acting, themes, plots, the full gamut of what that series is. And at the beginning of the show, we are going to rate it using our BingeWorthy scale. After our discussion points, we will rate it again. And perhaps, maybe, it has happened many times in the past, our co-hosts can influence us to change that rating. Sometimes it will cause us to push it all the way up, and other times it drags it all the way down to the flow. Now, speaking of our binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5, that is what we call a full binge out. That means this property is outstanding. It is dynamic. It is water cooler conversation that you do not want to miss. At a number 4 is what we call a full meal. Now, a full meal is not quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in viewing this property. At a number 3, we call that a mini meal. A mini meal is kind of, it's not bad. It's not good. Courtney always describes it as a TV dinner, a bland ass TV dinner. And I say without all that Lowry seasoning sprinkled into it. At a number 2, we call it a snack. A snack. Let's see. A snack, it's edible, right? But you're not going to get any nutritional value out of it. You're not going to get anything good out of it. It's just basically there because nothing else is available to you. I always say it's like that time of the year when football season is over with and basketball season is over with and there's nothing new on any of the streaming services and all you got to watch is just boring ass baseball. So that's what a snack is. And at a number 1 is what we call a cringe worthy. That just means this is some old bullshit. And why the hell did I waste my time watching this? I do slander one of our co-hosts a couple of times, but I'm not going to do that today since it's Sunday. It's Sunday, right? I'm not going to slander Chuck and say, why the hell, Chuck, did you recommend we watch this? But, you know, it's Sunday, so I'm not going to do that to you, fam. All right, even though I just did it. I'm sorry.
You know, you just did it.
That's
what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. I was just saying. I said I'm not going to do that, Chuck.
Even though you just did it.
All right. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to rate this series. And Chuck, I'm gonna start with you. Well, first, let me talk about what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about Miss Marvel. And the premise of Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan, a 16-year-old fangirl of the Avengers, particularly Carol Daniels' character, struggles to fit in until she gains powers. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Chuck. How are you going to rate Miss Marvel?
I'm going to give this show a full binge out.
We'll binge out.
I love the show. It was layered for me. All the stuff that dealt with the historical relevance of what happened between Pakistan and India, the partition. I didn't need that, but it was great they added it in there. I thought this was Marvel done at a bite-sized level that just worked. It actually worked, and I thought they did a good job. And they allowed a little girl to be a little girl growing into her womanhood and who she is as a person, as the adults, as she's this going through her transition in her teenage years. It was YA, but didn't have all the tropes of YA in it, and I loved it for it.
Okay. All right. So you're giving a full binge
Full
out.
binge out.
All right. So I'm going to jump in here right now. This show, I want to piggyback kind of on what Chuck said about allowing a young lady to blossom into who she was or who she's going to be. And it seemed very authentic, right? It's not the first time that we've seen superheroes in high school developing powers, but she seemed like a real 16-year-old girl. Toby Maguire was not a 16-year-old, 17-year-old when he developed his powers. And even in the other Spider-Man. So she seemed like a real young lady on the cusp of learning who she was. And I really enjoyed that. I thought there was some great action sequence. I thought it moved really fast. And we're going to talk about some of the points that you talk about with the background history of Pakistan and India. But it was really fun. And for me, that was interesting to learn because I can't say that I knew as much about that topic as I should have going into this series. I love the fact that Marvel is expanding their universe and they're making it more inclusive, but they're not just taking different characters and making them into something. They're allowing this character to really be who she is. And I'm looking forward to this. So I didn't think it was quite a full binge out because when I was in full binge out, I reserved for those revolutionary shows. They just not a can't miss, the Ted Lassos of the world, those types of shows. But for this, I really enjoyed it, and I hope they do a season 2 of it, and I hope they integrated it into the larger MCU. For that reason, I am going to give it a full meal. But I'm open to be convinced if you guys, if we can say it's better. So I'm going to give it a full meal for Miss Marvel. And now, Courtney, we're going to jump over to you. How are you going to rate Miss Marvel?
Well, first, I would like to say to your the one of the last points you made, she is integrated into the MCU because she's going to be part of the Marvels.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so she's in Captain Marvel 2, and it's called the Marvels. Um, in terms of this series, I had such a lovely time. I really enjoyed it. I know you guys have said a lot of the points that I was going to say, but the one thing I will deepen for me as a female, as someone who would have loved to have had YA when I was a young girl in school, have more I mean, ours were just like after school specials or like these weird little like teenage comedies like TGIF, but it really didn't delve into like the true emotional life that some, that kids go through, especially in school. And I love that this was wrapped around the superhero genre, which is something I truly adore. But unlike a lot of the other YAs, it didn't focus on a trilogy of a girl liking a boy and does the boy like her back. It truly just supported this girl's journey, not only through her high school years, like coming into high school as a freshman, or was she a sophomore? I think she was a freshman. Not only that, yeah, it was also about her discovering herself and her identity and giving us an opportunity to meet her family. And a lot of people don't have experience with Muslim culture or gets the opportunity to see that like the family dynamic. And that is something that was huge for me. Like the family dynamic, her and her relationship with her mother, like gave me life, because the actress who played her mother was phenomenal. And that it was just like, I really felt the entire community. And that was a big thing that a lot of times, you know, especially in the ethnic cultures, you don't really get, you know, I mean, you don't get a lot of, and to see it presented in that way was beautifully done. I thought that Marvel really took time and care with this series. And I like that it was more about her feelings for the boys as opposed to delving into what these boys feel, or do they like her, this and the third. It focused on Kamala Khan, just hands down. So for me, like Chuck, it was a full binge out because I thought it had the overall picture. I love the depictions of the community, and I love the scenes we got in the mosque. They had me screaming at the TV show when like the white characters were walking in with shoes on. I'm like, you need to take your shoes off.
Me too.
Out.
It was me too. Like,
I was
show
like,
us disrespect. Take your shoes off. Yeah.
So
I was the same way. I was the same way. I was like, y'all need to beat them up. Beat them
like,
up.
This is why you need to get her. Get her. So full binge out because I was screaming at the TV. Yeah.
Okay. So we got two full binge out and a full meal. That gives us a cumulative rating of 4.66. So as of now, we will round that up, and that's going to give us a full binge out for Miss Marvel. All right. So Courtney, you talked about the acting. You talked about the relationship between her mother, Kamala's mother, and her. And we had other characters throughout this and their family. So I'll start with you, and then I'll go over to Chuck. What did you think about the overall acting, the acting quality of this series and the casting? Can you hear me?
Huh?
Courtney, what did you think about the overall? What did you think about the overall acting quality and the casting for this series?
I thought you said Chuck. So I was like sitting here like,
I said Courtney. I might have.
You did. No, you absolutely did. Because that's when my brain triggered. And I was like, oh, I think he's talking to me. He said my name. So overall acting. I thought the overall acting was absolutely phenomenal. Because here's the thing, Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, she actually is a teenager. And not only is she a teenager, she is a teenager who loved Miss Marvel before it was ever a series. She was getting the comic books on her own, read every single issue, and decided, like, put into the universe, this is me. I'm going to be this character. And because she had that heart before she ever even got the audition, that came through. And it wasn't just her acting a role, she was living it, and she had the history of this character behind her, and she rooted it. Because a lot of times you get creators saying, oh, I didn't read the comics, oh, I don't know anything about it, oh, I don't read the books, I just want to be like Emma. And you cannot embrace the moment until you understand the world that it comes from. I just think that that's a fail as an actor, for you to be so arrogant that you're like, oh, I don't want to read it. I don't want to know my character, like what she did before. I just want to create my own. You can't do that. That's my personal feelings. You just can't do that. So I really love that. And I loved the family dynamic, because a lot of times you get like superheroes. Yes, they hide from their family, but usually when the family finds out, it's this anger and like, you didn't tell us, why did you, like, I'm mad at you, I'm not gonna talk to you for like 9 years, for 9 episodes, and then we can make up. And it was just like the community just rallied around her, and that's the beauty of the writing and the acting. I thought the casting was spot on. Like her mom, her dad, both boys, the one that she meets in Pakistan, the Red Dagger boy, and
Bruno
Cameron.
Okay.
Oh no, I wasn't. Yeah, Bruno was okay. I got a problem with Disney and Bruno's, because I immediately didn't trust Bruno, because you got Bruno and Luca that they're like Silencio Bruno, and then you got Bruno in Encanto. So I immediately thought Bruno was a villain. But he was good. You know, he was good.
What? Bruno wasn't a villain in Encanto. He wasn't.
But
he was the guy that went away because yeah.
Listen,
yeah, but he was the good guy. He loved his family so much he went into hiding.
Well, he was a part of the Khan family. Like he was a family member.
He was a family member. He is a family member,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
And I questioned. I was like, what's wrong with Bruno? There's
yeah.
something wrong with him.
I thought this was a great, well acted series. I particularly loved the brother,
Yeah, I
Sagar
Okay.
loved him.
Shahik. I loved him as an actor. He crushed it. He made me laugh, and the fact they made his wife black, and
So
she's
she's
a black
Yes.
black, right? So she
Muslim.
is
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
Well,
look
she's
at
Black
him.
Muslim.
She's a
Yeah, she's
black
Black
Muslim.
Muslim,
Okay.
which I
Yeah,
thought was
it
a
was
great
great.
addition
It was. It
because
was
there
like,
are Black Muslims,
yeah.
and especially given the fact that sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Chuck. I'm gonna
Hmm.
jump off. Just to piggyback on like what you're saying in terms of like
Hmm.
Malcolm X was a huge, that's everybody's idea of a Black Muslim, and I love that they used a female, like brought her in.
Yeah, yeah, and just how his support for his sister. Like everybody knew, like her mother told everybody in the family, and the brother and the dad were like, "Are we gonna pretend like we don't know? Are we gonna pretend like we don't know? I want to know your powers. That's what I want to know." So they really established in this world that superheroes is after the snapture. Superheroes are just a thing, and we're lucky to have one in our community. Not only we have one in our community, it's my sister.
Yes.
So I'm amped. My sister's a superhero. So I want to know everything about her. And the way he supported her too. Like they were like, we gotta get out of the school. And brother's like, I got this. I got a plan.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. It was so good.
Yeah. And to piggyback on what both of you guys said, I love now how Marvel is in the place where if your child or your friend develops superpowers, we're like, okay. Like, because we've been through everybody not existing, world domination, aliens, wizards, everything. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Eternals. There's
Right,
so many different
Eternals is like,
things.
so we're like, nah, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but but also like I forgot her best friend who didn't know. I felt her best friend, like the girl.
Nakia.
Yeah, I felt
Nakia.
her. She was like, "You didn't tell me.
Yeah.
You told everybody but me. Like what?
You told
She was
Bruno.
actually-
Like you
Right.
told Bruno.
You know what I mean? Like I'm your
She's
girl.
actually my favorite character
I love
of the
her.
series. I love everything about her, especially when she was running for to be head of the
Head of
temple.
the mosque,
When she walked over to
Or a committee
Kamala's
member.
father,
Committee member.
and she was
Yeah.
like, "I'm basically your daughter, right?" And so you not voting for me, it's like you not voting for your own family. And then she
Yeah.
just walks off, and it's like, "Now
And then he just stands
ponder
there
on
like-
that."
He's like, I mean, she.
She's
dang,
right.
she got
She's
me.
right.
She's right.
She's
Like,
right.
Right.
Even
So how can? Go ahead.
even the minister that ran the mosque, how protective he was of her. Like, yo, no,
Yeah.
you're on our turf. Nah,
Right.
we're not having this. No. So you coming out come get our superhero? Why? Cause she's brown? Cause she's
Right.
is why you here? Is that why you're here? Cause if she had been white, you wouldn't be here.
Because that's literally like, if you think about it, it was like the literal embodiment of what every Black person felt when Black Panther came out. It's like, we finally got one. We got skin in the game now. You know what I mean? It's not just us following and rooting for these like Avengers who are all white. We got one of our own. So that community, to see that reflected on screen, like during the big battle, and everybody came out. Everybody, they saw the message of little white girl's post. So we're gonna get to her. Chloe, I think her name was Chloe.
Zoe.
Yeah, we get to her. She came back out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? But anyways, everybody came out to support, and they were not leaving. It was like the equivalent of seeing like people hold arms, like, no, we're protecting our team. This is our superhero. You're not gonna take her from us.
And not only were they willing to do it, but they had a plan. So
They had
when
a
the groups
plan.
first came in, they already had their like, this is not our first rodeo. Like you can't go into that room. So like, I love that they were prepared, and then they put it into action, right? So it's showing people of color, like, not only are we brave, but like we're organized too. We can handle this as it is coming along. So it was really powerful at the end when that whole community rallied around her, and they were like, "Nah, you're not gonna touch her."
Yeah, and I liked when Cameron came on the scene. He pulled up in the Porsche, was like, "Get in." And I was like,
yep,
whoa.
yeah, because it's like because you knew he was somebody.
Yeah, you knew he was like getting in. And she was like, all right. Like,
Cameron had so much swagger.
he
He
did
was
have
probably my
swagger.
He
second favorite
did.
cast.
I
From the
loved
moment
him.
he stepped
He
on the
stepped on-
screen, and you could see it.
Yep.
Even in the high school, he walked into high school, and the one girl, Courtney, I guess you didn't like, she said, so you're that new senior. Why don't you come to that to the party, right? And so he's out there jumping off the roof into the pool. I was like, nah, I'm not scared. I can handle this.
Yeah.
I just thought he was a real cool character, man.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah, he was
beginning.
cool. Yeah, he was cool as
Yeah,
I.
Bruno
No,
was shook up though when he saw him on the scene, as he's supposed to be.
Bruno. I was like,
As
Bruno,
he's
if you don't take your
supposed to
behind the cow
be.
arts and go somewhere, she better not end up with Bruno. That's
No,
all I gotta say.
I think that's his sister. If that, I think
That's like
his
his sister. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't.
No,
you can't
he
do
likes
that.
her.
He does like her.
doesn't-
He does like her. She doesn't
sees
like
him
him.
as her brother.
Yeah.
But if it's that like the they're playing the long game, like Kamala doesn't see him yet. She doesn't
Yeah.
understand who he is.
I hope
and
that
finally
doesn't
she's
happen.
like, oh, I love you, Bruno. No.
For a while there, I thought she was checking out Zoe. I was like, Kamala's out here checking out Zoe? What's going on here? The girl she
No,
sang?
yeah, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
glad you brought that up
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now everything is interpreted as sexual. And a lot of times,
Might
like
have been
I know there
admiration.
were girls
Mhm.
that I just want to be with her. I just want to be her friend. I want to hang out with her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be your girlfriend. I just wanted
Yeah.
to be with you. Like I
Yeah.
like you as a person, and I love that you can
Yeah.
because you're the popular girl.
Right.
You're the
Yeah.
popular girl
Yeah.
in school. I want to be cool with you. Like I love everything about you. Sometimes I want to be you. I mean, I want to like make out with you.
Yeah,
So,
I realized that when she saved her life, like I
Yeah.
just want to be cool. You're a cool person,
Right.
Yeah.
and I think Zoe thinks Kamala's cool. Like I think you're a cool person.
yeah.
And Kamala is, and I love the fact
Mhm.
again back for earlier that they actually cast a teenage girl to play the role. They didn't get a 19-year-old that could pass for 16 or a 20-year-old
Right.
that could pass. They got, and that energy, it was exuberant,
Mhm.
right? It came through as like,
Mhm.
oh, this is a girl, a young lady who's figuring it out as a teenager, and she's not doing something off memory, like she's doing something that she actually went through. So the casting decision for her was a great job, I thought.
I do think Cameron is like 19 now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he is older.
I think he's like 20 or 21.
Okay.
I'm pushing
Well-
it in 19.
Yeah,
Well, then if that's the case, they can't
he
have them
seemed
kid-
like it though.
They
too.
can't be a love interest if and he can't kiss her.
Oh, well, then maybe he's 17. Did they kiss? They did.
I don't know if they
didn't
did, but I'm saying like potentially if he's that old, like it'll be a while before they're able to like kiss or anything. If he's 19 and she's
Well,
like 15
okay.
or 16, they
I
can't.
think they did. Did they kiss, Chuck?
I want to say they
I
didn't
never
kiss.
think they kissed.
They didn't kiss.
They didn't kiss.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah,
Uh,
it'll have to be they'll have to close that gap legally before
Well, then maybe he's 17. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
so-
just a really
And he played a
Old-looking
17-year-old. He
17-year-old.
played a senior in high school. So 17, 18-year-old.
Yeah, he
that
is a
would
senior in
be-
high school.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be accurate in his casting.
But I did love the fact Bruno felt threatened by him. Like I'm
course
better
he
than
did.
him. I'm better than you. Like he's supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to. And Cameron was like, okay, whatever, guy,
Right.
whatever.
And if he's not, then it makes no sense because he and Kamala are the same age, right?
Mhm.
And Cameron is a senior coming in, driving a Porsche with swag. It wouldn't make sense
Yeah,
for Bruno to be cooler than Cameron. It just doesn't.
doesn't
right?
make
It
sense
doesn't
at all.
work. So then we get into like the white savior thing, if it was. So that was, and I think having because the creator of the show is Pakistani. She's
Yeah.
Pakistani. The
Yeah.
writer of the show is Pakistani. She's
So
probably wanted that.
Iman Vellani
She's
is
20.
19. She's 19, going on 20.
Oh, she's 19. She'll be 20.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And
Is
Cameron.
she
Okay.
19 now though?
Yeah, she's
No,
19
yeah.
now.
She's 19 now.
So she was probably about
born in
16 or
2002.
17 when this was
Shot.
shot.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. He's 26.
Oh damn.
Rich is 26.
Okay.
And Bruno's 21.
Okay.
Her and Yasmin are the same age.
Okay.
So her and her best friend are the same age, which makes total sense because Yasmin
Yeah.
seemed like a young girl too as well.
Yeah, she
Yes,
did.
she did.
But they came
So
up
if this was shot like 3 years ago, we think
Mhm.
this was shot like 3 years ago, then
Yeah.
yeah, she would have
Yeah.
been like
about
16.
16 now.
Yeah,
So which makes sense then.
17 when she shot.
Yeah, it makes sense. And
ahead.
I was gonna say the other characters in there, like Cameron's mom was really cool too. And I understood her. She's like, I'm going home. I am going back
Well,
to
let's
a
set
rough
that up
run.
then. Okay, so they're
Yeah.
like this elite group from a different dimension, right?
Yep.
And so they've been stuck in our dimension and they are trying to get back home. They
Yep.
recognize that Kamala is an ancestor of one of their groups, right? Because that's what she was.
Mm-hmm.
And so her objective is to get back home, which she thinks Kamala can be a catalyst to help them in that. And she's
Mm-hmm.
also Cameron's mother. So you say you understood where she's coming from, but is she the villain of this series? So we'll start with you, Chuck, and then we'll go over to Courtney. So is she
Mm-hmm.
the villain?
Yes.
Because Marvel does a great job of drawing empathy for our villains, right?
Yeah.
Is she the villain, or is she, she's just got her own
She
objective?
is the villain. She was willing to sacrifice our protagonist. She was willing to sacrifice our hero to get back to her homeland, and she was willing to abandon her son. She was
Mm.
willing to abandon her son. I'm like, look, I understand I had you here, but you're staying here. We're going back there, and you'll be here. I raised you well enough to handle your own. You're good. You're good. I thought her sacrifice was noble when she sacrificed herself to get Cameron the powers he has. She's like,
Yeah, I didn't understand that part because
mm-hmm,
I feel like Cameron should have either had powers because he was born here, like Kamala,
mm-hmm,
um, or the mom never exhibited that she had similar powers to Kamala.
yeah.
So where did those powers come
Well,
from?
Well,
his powers
go
are
ahead.
somewhat different. I think his powers happened when she closed the void. So the energy that was needed to close the void, he captured it. She
All
passed
right.
it to him.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
And,
Okay.
and
Maybe.
Kamala was powers of in the band in both.
Okay.
Well,
Kinda,
No, no,
kinda.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Well,
that's what I
here's the
was going.
thing. Because sorry, let me pop in here.
Okay.
Okay, so first thing, I think the bands are a conduit for
Mm-hmm.
Kamala.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they allow her to control them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I also know, well, okay, there's two schools of thought. So the first one, in the comics, Kamala is inhuman.
Yes.
So the Terrigen mist explodes and she develops these abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The
That's
bracelets
right.
were added for Ms. Marvel, the TV series in the MCU.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
However, and because they're saying that Kamala is a mutant, that is what they have decided. They have
Right.
kind of retconned the whole inhuman thing just because we
Uh-huh.
haven't come back to that. And also I think they want to find a way to kind of usher in the X-Men.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know if she's a mutant. I think they may keep her as
Nah,
a
I think
human.
she's
No,
a
no, no.
mutant
They
because they
played the
said it's a
music.
mutation.
They
Yes.
said it was a
Because he
mutation,
examines her
and that
detail.
was the
Yeah. And
that was
that's
the X-Men music from
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
X-Men 1997.
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah. And it explains why maybe her family doesn't have the same
Powers. Yeah.
that she did, even though their ancestors, right, did. I think it was not. I think the braces are a conduit and a catalyst. They jump off the power, like they accelerated that mutant gene, and it's able for her to control it when she has it. Like Gambit uses the cards to
Yes.
funnel his power. So I think that's what the bracelets are. And regarding for the X-Men, from what I heard, they can't do X-Men until like 2025
Yeah.
because Fox had contracts with all the actors that they wouldn't replace them. So the contracts don't expire.
They can't use those characters.
They can't use those characters.
There are several other
Yeah.
X-Men.
They can create other
can be
characters,
used.
right? But it's like, are you gonna have X-Men without Professor Xavier, Magneto?
They already used
Wolverine?
Professor Xavier.
Right. They've got to use Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart and at the
They can't
but
use
And
a
who
yo-
doesn't want to use Patrick Stewart?
and
They-
Right, but you
and
can't
the
use
other
a
guy
no-
too. They have
If
to
you
use the
want to
other
use a
guy.
younger one or a different one or anything like that, you can't use them
That's
until
not true.
2025.
They used the other
That's
young
not
guy,
true.
the other young guy from.
I did. X-Men
Right,
First Class.
right. They have to
yeah.
use first class or the original characters.
But who would not
And,
use
you know,
those two?
who would not
Those
use
two
them?
are
But
amazing.
maybe Marvel doesn't want to use those characters.
they
Maybe they
haven't-
want to
they
James
haven't-
reinvent.
McAvoy.
No.
Maybe they want to
no.
reinvent the whole universe.
That's I don't necessarily know. So here, okay. So as y'all know, I was in Hall H in Comic-Con,
Mhm.
and I know that there's a whole plan for phase 6, which starts 2025, 2026. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
2025
Yeah,
is
yeah,
when it's
yeah. Right. But no, but the Avengers, Kang Dynasty and the Avengers Secret Wars are both slated to be in 2026. So therefore, by that time, um, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why they did the music to let you know. And given the fact that we saw X-Men, Professor Xavier in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they are already building the foundation.
No, I agree. They're already building. What I'm saying is that's the reason. I don't know if they're going to use those same characters. I'm sorry, those same actors.
I think they
I'm
should.
not sure that they're
James
going to use the
McAvoy
same actors
and Charles
because
Xavier are amazing.
Kevin Feige specifically said that. He says the reason we haven't X-Men is going to be down the line because we have the contract. We had to inherit Fox's contractual obligation to all the actors that we can't recast it. So I don't know if they want to or not. I'm not privy to Marvel discussions, but that is the reason that X-Men are not introduced until phase 6, which is 2025, when all of those contracts expire.
That's fair.
Whether they want to do it or not, I don't know. But what I'm saying, that's the reason for it.
I mean, that's fine, but there are certain characters that they like what they did with Evan Peters and Aaron Taylor Johnson in WandaVision. Aaron Taylor Johnson, sorry. Yeah, Evan Peters.
Right.
Evan
Taylor
Johnson. What they did with Quicksilver and what's her name.
Right.
But at the same time, like there's several other X-Men that haven't been used.
There are.
And I do think that ultimately it would give them an opportunity to build their own X-Men kind of like favorites, just the way they did with Iron Man. Iron Man was a cast off.
Agree. I think that is the plan. I think the plan is to kind of create your own, or even the older ones. It doesn't necessarily fit into all that we knew. Doesn't necessarily fit into the MCU.
Right.
So it gives them a chance
right
to
now.
start. Yeah, it gives them a chance to kind of start fresh and develop their own thing. Because even with the Fantastic Four, I read they're not going to do a backstory because they said like everybody knows the backstory.
Well, that's how they did with Spider-Man. They didn't. There have been talks that they were going to do an animated series that was going to give. I think they announced that in Marvel Animation Hall H. They said something about how they were going to do an animated series, give a prequel to like the Spider-Man trilogy that we have right now. But Tom Holland is not going to be the voice because initially they thought they might have him be the voice of Peter Parker to give that backstory of what happened to him before he, got his powers. Like, I mean, I don't really need it, but
I don't need it either.
Again, same with Fantastic Four, but there's like a whole, they only gave us Fantastic Four opening phase 6, and then they gave us the 2 movies closing phase 6, which I'm certain they're saving the rest for D23, in terms of like, what is the rest of that slate. But there have been rumors though, that there's going to be things that are popping up in Blade, that they're going to be X-Men characters or the hints of a character or two. But anyways.
And that makes sense. Yeah,
I think Moon Knight's going to pop up in Blade.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Feige, he's kind of saying that everything doesn't have to connect.
Yeah. He does say that.
He said everything like...
Yeah, so Kevin Feige says a lot of stuff that I think is like intended to be slightly misleading. He's a bit of Doctor Strange himself. Like, I feel like he's puppeteering.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Like, something happens in one movie that causes the scene in one movie is an incident in another movie, but those characters don't actually connect or meet up. I think that's fair.
Yeah, that was also with Moon Knight. Oscar Isaacs was only at the time contracted to do the 1 season.
Yeah.
So he is not unless they like renegotiated, which I'm sure they're in some talks.
Right. But
Moon Knight isn't necessarily going to be in the MCU.
The MCU, right. But he's killing the game, and he's probably just negotiating.
Yeah. So or better yet, his series
it doesn't have to be.
His series is an MCU. Maybe there's some incidents in his series that come back. Like, you got to think there's gods in his series that can actually come back. Oh, it may not be about him. It may be about gods.
Yeah, it could be old girl. It could be Layla.
Yeah.
Which I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Who says we need to have Moon Knight in the MCU when we have 15 other characters in that series we could use?
right? And
Well,
then
we
we
going off
have
on a
gods
tangent
with
now.
We are. We are. We are.
we have gods with we have gods with powers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the Eternals, we got the Greeks, we got Thor and them. So it could happen. But let's move back on. So let's talk about the look of Miss Marvel. Special effects. Chuck, how do you feel about the special effects
I thought the
for Miss Marvel?
I thought the special effects were okay. It is the best television version they've done. Um, I think they could have worked a little bit harder on her powers special effects. It's on par with what they did with America in Doctor Strange. Multiverse of Madness is on the same level as that, but I expect a little bit more out of it. I expect Marvel to push it. I think they're leaning in on the comic book side a little bit too heavy, and they're going to have a lot of stiff competition coming in the next couple of months with the Game of Thrones series, with the Tolkien series,
Oh,
with
I
the
don't think they're gonna
Avatar
have.
series. They're gonna show you what special effects are supposed to look like, and I think Marvel needs to say, "Hey, we need to push it." I mean, Star Wars is showing you great special effects, and I think Marvel wants to keep that comic book feel and that look to some of their special effects, but they gotta push it. They're gonna have to start pushing it.
I don't
Okay,
think
Courtney,
Game
how
of
do you feel?
Thrones is gonna be a contender. I mean,
Oh
not
God,
after
it's
not
gotta
after
be.
that
All the
panel.
money they spent on that, it's gotta be.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I was underwhelmed by that
Are
panel,
you? Okay.
but we'll have a separate conversation about that. In terms of the special effects on this, I thought that they were. Here's the thing. This series in and of itself, they did a really good job, and sometimes I felt was a little bit of a hindrance to keep it within the realm of a high school freshman, not a high school senior, a high school freshman girl. And I think a lot of that, was Kamala really learning how to, what am I doing with this? Like, how do I get this? How do I make it work? So a lot of her uncomfortable feelings, I think, translated into how they showcased it through the special effects, because they did get better. Like seeing everything, how she ended up in partition, and then to where we ended up in the final battle. I thought there was a progression of her learning what to do, even when she accidentally dropped the little boy at the carnival, which I thought was funny. He was like, "I'm glad she's figuring out her powers. I wish she would have figured it out before." You know what I mean? Before she dropped me, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm not dead.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like it was a progression, and I think it was intentional. I do think that it was a bit of a too slow of a burn, but I thought that they were pretty good. I like that it looked different, because I think it's probably doesn't have to be at some point really hard trying to differentiate how someone's powers look in the MCU, and so they don't look so much like someone else's, especially given the fact that she is within the realm of Captain Marvel, and she's going to be in the Marvels. So her powers to me looked a lot like fractures of Captain Marvel's powers. Like the color scheme, just the way that it was. So I think that there is going to be a similar, I think that they were trying too hard to make her similar to Captain Marvel. Her not similar in nature and in ability, but in the look of the way that they showcased her ability.
Okay. And that does make sense to me because I was kind of in a train of Chuck. I wasn't very impressed with the special effects of her powers. I just thought it looked like they didn't want to spend the money or take the time to do it. And that's what I thought. But it does make sense, right? You're saying she's new. She just learned how to do this in this series. So I guess it wouldn't make sense for her to be full on fledged, like doing these
Just like
awesome dynamic
awesome.
things that were just like wow, like that. So I guess I can see it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
So
because
mean,
if you think about Peter Parker,
maybe
like we dropped Peter Parker in the Civil War, and he was already like aces, you know what I'm saying? But we
right.
didn't see the first 2 years of him with his abilities in his little raggedy costume,
mm-hmm.
discovering how to create, like how he maneuvered.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with her abilities of her powers. I thought them being small and weak made total sense to me. Just the look, the actual look, it looked like a comic book. Like Everything else looked pretty good, and I love how they did her outfit. Like how she had her outfit made, her suit, her first
I
suit,
love that her
and it was
mom made her
raggedy. And her
suit.
mom made the
Oh,
second one, and I thought
and it
that
was
was
dope.
amazing. I was like, "That's
Yep.
dope." It's not superhero hero, but it fit her. It was for her. Like
Right.
when it's like Peter Parker going into the first Spidey suit that
Right.
Stark wore, and you saw the stark contrast, and she doesn't need that. It lets you know she doesn't need that. She just wants that scarf and her suit that her mom made her. And I was like, this is the best thing Marvel's done.
Right. And we can't expect her to want
Mm-mm.
that. She can't. We can't expect her to have the Tony Stark billion-dollar
No,
suit or the
no,
X-Men suit,
no.
right? She's not a god. She's
Well,
a
yeah, because
middle
now
class
it'll
girl
be
growing up in New Jersey in a
Mm-hmm.
Pakistani family, right? So it would make sense for the suit to kind of be
it'll probably be Riri who like soups up her game.
What
Riri
what made
Williams
me what made me
and or
step.
Bruno.
Mm-hmm. What
Bruno,
made me
I feel like Bruno and Riri gonna be friends.
what
I
made
think
me
they
what,
gonna end up a couple, unfortunately.
I don't think so. I don't think
I
so.
hope not.
I think
They
I,
better,
I,
they
I
better
I
give
think I
Riri a
think
black
Riri's gonna be
boyfriend.
stuck in Wakanda. She's gonna be with Killmonger. That's what's gonna happen. She's gonna be.
I don't
I
think
don't
she's
know
gonna be
about
with
all that. That's too
Killmonger, but
much.
she gonna be
That's
with
you giving her too much. That's too many problems. Don't give her a
yeah.
problematic male. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for her being having a black
Oh,
boyfriend,
what are you
but give
talking
her a
about?
good guy.
He's gonna be changed. He's going through the same thing that Bucky went through.
Mhm.
He's gonna be the Black Bucky. He's gonna be just like Bucky. He's gonna be the Winter Soldier. He's gonna be tame. He's gonna be a mad killing
Uh,
machine.
all right, we moving up. I'm
But no, but
sorry.
I
But we
actually
have to
think
talk about partition.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's talk about it. I didn't know anything about partition. I'm sorry.
You
I'm
never
sorry.
saw Gandhi?
I just
I
I
mean,
don't
I saw it,
remember.
but I'm like Randy. I didn't really know
I
about it.
didn't
Oh
know,
yeah,
and the way they went into it, I thought was brilliant.
It was
I
yeah,
loved it.
beautifully done.
I
yeah.
walked away, was like, oh, and especially when they were sitting at the dinner table, and I forgot, I think it was the brother was like, every Pakistani has a partition story, and I thought that
Yes.
was important to the culture of Pakistani history, and then helping as an audience member who wasn't as familiar with it, bring me in, educate and give me some empathy. So
Mhm.
I loved everything
Mhm.
about the partition.
Yeah. Partition went up in what 40, 40, 45, 46. It went up in the 40s.
Something like
And
that. Okay.
and it was Gandhi caused the partition. Like you Muslims will go over here and everybody else Hindi and whatnot go over here. And
Wait, you
was
said Gandhi caused the
Yeah, Gandhi
partition?
caused it. I
God,
thought the
God,
British. I
the
thought the
British
British
I
caused
thought
it.
the British
the
did.
British did, but he pushed the partition to separate the two, to create the two states. He was pro create the two states.
Oh,
I didn't that see. I'm
see, I
learning
didn't even know
more.
that part.
I'm learning more about it. Okay, so you
Yeah.
guys, let's talk about what did you guys have to think of the partition? Start recording. What did you think of the partition story element of the series?
Well, first of all, I thought it was really powerful in the sense of the way that they introduced the Jin grandmother, who, like she just happened to be there and during that time, and the relationship they built between the like her and the grandfather, it was so lovely done. And seeing Kamala like slip through back into that area, and then they jump even further back to give us the understanding of how we got to be where Kamala is. It was just so powerful because
Mhm.
you get to the you get to understand from an emotional and compassionate level who these people are. And I think that that is the heart and beauty, like number one thing about this series that makes it different from all the rest of them, is that it comes from the place of heart. It comes from a place of compassion. It comes from a place of family, like real actual family. Like,
Family and
yes, the
culture.
Avengers are a family, but you know what I mean? Like, and the Wanda Vision was about her and Vision, but we have we have yet to really have, Fantastic Four come together as a family. But this is a legitimately explaining who these people are and giving us their backstory, but really it's the history, not just of our characters, but of the people. And I think that that really added to the story. And just understanding, I did get a little bit of Harry Potter feeling, like in Prisoner of Azkaban, when Harry Potter is standing out there trying to like somebody's got to save us, somebody's got to save us, and ultimately he realizes he's the savior because he
Mhm.
came back in time, and it's him who saves himself and his godfather.
Mm-hmm.
So to see that moment with Kamala and her grandmother,
Yeah,
and
that was
she realizes she's the one that saved her grand. She's the one that created the stars. The stars led her back to her grandfather. I just got chills thinking about it again. Like it was so beautiful. It was just
Mm-hmm.
so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my favorite parts.
I thought that
Seeing
was
her connect.
predictable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you thought it was
Yeah,
predictable.
Yeah, I thought that.
yeah, I
I thought
predicted it.
I
Yeah,
predicted like it's gonna be her to do it. It's gonna be her
Uh,
to go back in time and do it for
I
her.
still enjoyed it though.
I enjoyed every moment of it. I
yeah, I thought.
enjoyed that how chaotic the partition was. Cause you think you're breaking families. You're literally it's the same thing that
Yeah,
happened with the east and west of Germany when they put the wall up. North, South Korea, the same exact things. You're watching families get broken because of
yeah,
religion. And it's like, what are we doing? We're the same people. We just and what makes it bad is Hinduism is acceptance of Islam. It's just the leaders at the time did not accept Islam because they thought Islam would take over and push them out of power.
mm. See, yeah, I didn't know that, and I need to do more research. I'm being
Yeah,
ashamed to admit,
it is a
but I,
thing.
I thought them bringing it up and things that Courtney was talking about. It was about culture, right? It was Pakistani culture, and it was
Hmm.
seen through the lens of a Pakistani family in America,
Yeah,
and the discrimination that they face, the challenges they face, but the joys and the celebrations that they have. I thought it was some powerful stuff going on
yeah.
here. And for anybody out here who had a problem with it, you're just an asshole, right? I don't get
It's
because
weird.
it was one of Marvel's lowest rated shows.
Yeah, which makes
It
it really
was.
bad.
It was one of
Yes,
Marvel's lowest rated shows.
it's one of the most Marvel's lowest viewed shows too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
It
that's what I mean.
yeah,
Robert ratings.
lowest
Yeah.
views. It has
Mhm.
stellar ratings. So the best media outlets love the show, and we know why Marvel had the issues with the show. We could talk about why people had issues with the show. It was about a
Brown
brown
people.
family
Yeah.
that of Islamic background, and you literally had Americans pushing against that. There's actual articles and politicians pushing against the show itself.
Some
Marvel and
people
its
call it
woke
too woke.
agenda.
Some people call it, yeah,
Yeah, woke
yeah,
agenda. And
yeah.
it's not woke. And the show is just
It's
partition
not.
comes up because nobody knows about it. And it makes sense for them to talk about it because it talks about why this family is the way they are and why is this community the way it is in America and how hard it is for this community to survive in America.
And it wasn't woke, like you said. It was just them being a family. It was
Because them
just
being a
literally
family.
them being a family. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary or trying to push anything. They were literally just living their everyday lives. And yeah, so I'm right here. Miss Marvel only brought in 775,000 views the first 5 days. This is incredibly lackluster compared to other Disney Plus shows.
What's the beautiful thing about it is Marvel and its parent company didn't care. They're like,
Yep,
the
I agree.
show is great.
It
This
is.
show is amazing.
It
And
is.
we're not going to allow racism to thwart the greatness of the show, nor make us deter us from doing the shows we want to do.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch it, then you'll be
Don't watch it.
confused
It's not
when
for
you go
you
to the
then.
MCU. You
Yeah.
just don't. We don't care.
Don't
You catch
care.
up,
Just
or
stay
you
at
Don't
home.
won't.
care.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Or
Yeah.
maybe you'll go and watch the Marvels and be
People
like,
had
okay, maybe I should go and watch the show.
Right.
They knew this was coming because of the backlash that happened on Moon Knight too.
Oh, I didn't know there was a backlash from Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's because
Mm.
the Egyptian gods and it's not Jesus. Blah blah. People went off on that too.
And remember what her friend
Wait,
said? We
what?
spent,
Egyptian gods been around for like they
oh, but they don't know.
preceded the Greek.
Right,
okay.
they don't know that. But remember when Kamala's friend, I forgot her name. She said we spent 3
Rashida.
months on Greeks and Romans, and we spent a week. Oh no, we spent like 2 hours on the Persian Empire. Right? I
Yep.
mean, it's crazy.
And the Persian Empire was much vaster and
It
lasted
was
a lot
bigger,
longer.
yeah. So like, yeah, so yeah. So I'm glad
Mhm.
that Disney took has the courage to go in there and say, we're gonna step in here and do this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and re-rate it. We started
What
with
about the bad guys?
the
The
bad guy. Okay.
the evil white lady.
You talking about the one that came to arrest them? Yeah,
Yeah.
that she's the raw villain. She's the
She's the
raw
real villain.
She's the real villain. She's the real villain. She is.
The evil
And
Karen.
the evil Karen, yeah. And she went up into the school. They were like, "Don't go up in the school
Yeah,
messing with
her
these
boss
kids.
legitimately said
Yeah.
leave. And she
Leave."
just like did her own thing and attacked children. You
Yeah,
attacked
like you're attacking
children on
children.
in front of the world.
Yeah, they were like, "Yo, we have superheroes. We're open to that." And it's like, "Oh, you're relieved of your position."
Right. And she
You,
should have been in
she
a
should have
world
been.
full of superheroes, as we've already established.
Yeah.
Really,
Right.
we
Damage
literally had
control
people
is
being
not doing
vanished
damage.
from existence. We've had
Yeah.
aliens, witches, superpowers, everything. So this is not like outside of the realm of
Mm-mm.
possibility that should be scaring people. It's
It
like,
doesn't scare
let's
people
figure
at
this out.
all.
Let's make a connection with this community and see what we can do, like, to help this. That should have been her goal, but nah.
Well, not even that. It's like you put it in this context of like government control. Whereas if they had mentioned like that, okay, we need her to sign the superhero act or whatever, you know what I mean? Like if you bring that shit back, then at least it would have given us. I felt like she had no context. Like she was just terrible. She was just a terrible person, Whereas damage control, we saw damage control in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was the first time they were introduced when they were interviewing Peter Parker. And it was still, they were still trying to kind of like force these issues of like, who are you and all that, like blah, 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 blah. But the fact that I guess they were continuing that saga, the fact that Peter Parker even needed a lawyer in the first place
Mm-hmm.
was separate because of what he was being accused of having committed murder. But she hadn't been accused of anything.
No, shit.
Mm-mm.
And maybe it's, I don't know. And I'm not.
She
I don't
hasn't
wanna
done any
pray.
damage to any
She hasn't.
damage control.
But
Right.
maybe it's preemptive too, because we did see what Wanda did when she was kind of left to her own device.
Westview?
She literally took over a whole town, and so you just sometimes don't know. I just think her strategy in going about it was terribly wrong, because we have no instance of her doing anything wrong. Literally, the video that,
she saved
that made
somebody.
them
She says
notice
that, though.
somebody. She saved somebody. She
Yeah.
literally saved somebody.
But-
so it was like, why were you trying to now make her an enemy without
But
like
she
any
says
sort
that
of
too.
contact?
She's young, doesn't know her powers. We need to stop it now. She does say it. She does say we need to stop this now.
So then that makes her the villain, because we live in a world full of superheroes now, right?
Mhm.
The Avengers have literally saved the world, right?
The
It's not like they're
Eternals
the
have
outcast.
saved the world.
Save the world, right? I mean, Spider-Man, like it's been well established that not everybody who has enhanced abilities, or however you want to interpret it, they're not villains, and we
Mhm.
shouldn't be circumspect of them, right? So yeah, that whole strategy that she had, I think that's what makes her the
Yeah,
villain.
that's what her boss was like. Yo, chill out.
Right.
Let's just see what
right.
happens.
Let's
you
see what
know?
happens, right?
But I think that this is why I think that it's the beginning of the mutant saga, because you're
Mhm.
building this fear and hatred within the community, and you're showcasing this fear of
Enhanced.
enhanced individuals. And I think that the next phase, because like Kevin Feige said that phase 4 is called the multiverse saga. So we don't know what phase 5 is called yet, and we don't know what phase 6 is called yet. But I think that that's going to be the downfall. Like 5 and 6, I think is going to be, we've had this heyday of superheroes saving the world, and I think now we're moving into this
It's gonna be
era
the start
of
of
fear.
villains. Yeah.
Yes,
Like what? Y'all gonna come for us? We'll come for you.
exactly. Because
Yeah,
now
I
humans
mean-
feel like I don't have any powers, and this is exactly where they're supposed to be. I'm the people that are left out. I'm the people that doesn't have power, so therefore we need to take powers from those people so that I don't feel so bad about myself anymore.
Well,
Or
wasn't
feel
that
so
what
powerless.
Tony and Captain America, that was literally the fight. They wanted them to register in Civil War, right? I mean, Tony wanted them to register with whatever organization that was, and Captain America was like, "No, we're not doing this."
Well,
So it's
yeah,
existed.
exactly. Well, yes, but exactly, it's this understanding or this misunderstanding of the one time in Tony Stark's history of being like the leader of the Avengers, is that he did not have a broad spectrum view of where it was going. Because just even acknowledging that there's a reason for us to register admits and agrees that we are a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And,
And he
that has
did
been
not, and he didn't
consistent.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
And he
that's been
didn't, he couldn't see
consistent.
big picture.
Right.
He was just trying to do whatever he wanted to do. He thought he was protecting the world. And really, he is the first person that created the the fissure
Yeah,
between
let's be
the two
honest. He
parties,
didn't have a
and this
power,
leading
so
into
he's
Ms.
not really
Mowers.
registering. Captain America's registering. He's changed. He's physically a different human
Right.
being.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So it's
Right.
easy for you, Mr. Billionaire in a suit, to say, y'all gotta register because y'all got superpowers. Me, I
But
got this $1 billion suit that shoots missiles out the back that can
but
blow up a whole entire planet.
but from his point of view too, is like I just have this suit. You are literally gods. Thor is literally a god. Like,
Yeah.
so if you guys do go rogue, like what is our
The
defense?
contingency plan. So he's the
Yeah.
beginning of that faction.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's
Because
he's been
Tony
saying that
Stark
from
knows.
he's been saying that from the beginning. We need a suit of armor around the world,
Right.
but he wanted it around the world, and I think we're moving into the saga, especially everything we saw in Ms. Marvel. We're moving into the
Right.
saga where it's not around the world. We need to take all those superpower people, put them in the same containment place where
Yeah.
we can like
Put up in the
monitor,
cage.
put them
Yeah.
in a cage.
Put him in the
And
cage.
maybe her efforts jeopardize that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The little, it's not that they're right or wrong or don't want to do right or wrong. It's her efforts jeopardize it because it brings that to the attention of the world already when we're not ready to enact whatever plan that we
Yeah.
have. And so, like, because we can get sentinels, like, it's all sorts of things that they're probably contemplating and creating, as you said, for phase 6, as we start to get into mutants and things going around. Because what happens when, like, Mastermind comes in with the X-Men and the Sentinels and all of those types of things?
Well,
Or Doom.
I think the Eternals are the first, the Celestials are the first precursor to the Sentinels. Because if you look
Mhm.
at them, they kind of look like Sentinels. I feel like the
Mhm.
Sentinels are the answer to human beings trying to battle these Celestials.
Mhm.
Because I feel like never mind. I'm getting off. I'm going off again. But
Yeah, we are.
anyways,
We are. We are. We got to bring it back. So we talked about what was her name? I forget her
Kamala.
name. Not Kamala, but the white lady for the.
I don't know. Just call her Karen. I'm just playing. No, I'm gonna look her up.
Wow.
I'm gonna look her up. I'm gonna look her up. That was wrong of me. I
Karen.
She's been in
apologize.
other
That was
stuff. I
very.
just
That
can't.
was very. Her name was Agent Deaver.
Deaver.
Okay,
Yeah,
Agent Deaver.
Deaver.
Agent Deaver, and yeah, she's the DODC agent.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about X-Men. We done talked about Avengers. We talked about mutant powers. We talked about the series. We
But
talked
they
about
brought the
Eternals.
song in.
Yeah. So, but I
Y'all
think that's
noticed
part
the
of
song,
when
right?
you talk about a Marvel show. It's like you kind of have to discuss the entire MCU because, right, even though it may not connect, it's a part of the broader picture.
Mm-hmm.
But you recognize the song, right, in the episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just.
That's why we brought it up. They brought it
Yeah.
up first. Technically, it was part of our.
We didn't
part of
talk
our
about
conversation.
Red Dagger, where Red Dagger's going. We didn't talk about. Well, there's a bunch of things going on.
Well,
that
we can
don't
be here.
know.
Yeah, we can be here for hours.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation in this show. This
We
show
can be like the
creates a
old days.
lot of-
Remember, we used to go like 2-3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this show did open up a lot of threads,
Mhm.
and so
It did.
yeah.
All right, so Courtney, we're gonna re-rate it. We started with you last, so we'll go with you first. How are you going to re-rate Miss Marvel?
I'm sticking with my full binge out.
With your full binge out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we had a lot of good discussion points here. I mean, it's a good show. It's a great show, and I'm full. I'm full. I don't know if I'm full binge out. I don't know if I'm like Bab Dawson Thanksgiving Christmas dinner where I just can't get up off the couch because I've eaten so much. But I still do enjoy it. But I'm gonna stick
But
with
do
my
you
rating.
want more?
I do want more. I do want more.
So,
I do want more.
I mean,
but I can get one more from a full meal.
all right.
Full meal. So I mean, it was a good discussion points, but guys, I'm gonna stick with my full meal. I'm gonna stick with my full meal.
Okay.
Chuck, what about you? How you gonna rate it?
I'm keeping with a binge out. I want to go watch it again, actually, because I actually enjoyed it. It gave me what I was hoping Hawkeye would give me.
Mm.
It gave.
We are never going to talk about the Hawkeye episode ever again. All
I
right,
mean,
we're gonna move. No,
we
we're gonna
can't
move
do
on.
that unless I have Centel because I'm alone.
Right,
Y'all hated it.
we're never going to talk about
I
Hawkeye
loved
again.
Hawkeye.
We might even scrub it from the old record.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Gonna
No, we're
move
not.
on.
No,
We're
not.
never
not.
bringing it up again. Ever.
No,
I
no.
loved
It gave me what.
Hawkeye.
That's what I'm saying. It gave me what Hawkeye didn't give me.
Oh.
I understand what it gave me. That's what it gave me. It gave me that true young girl story, and it wasn't that some white man came out to save her every 5 seconds.
Huh? No, we didn't.
Yeah, in
We didn't
fact,
get
she had to
that.
save the white boy.
She did.
She did. She
She
saved every
did.
damn body.
She did.
She
She
said,
did.
and
Every
even when she
power.
lost, it was like it made sense. Like, okay, that makes sense. You took that L. You're supposed to. You were supposed to take that L. But I'm glad you got back up.
There was no white savior in this, was it?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I think this is the first time Marvel did that.
Um,
Yep.
Because Black Panther was a white savior.
They had a white savior in it. Yep.
Moon Knight didn't really have a white savior. He had a white villain.
Yeah. You had a white villain.
Okay. Okay.
You didn't have a white savior. He
All
saved
right. For
himself.
that reason, I'm gonna up my rating. So it didn't have. It's one of the first shows that we didn't have a white savior. All right. All right. All right. I'm gonna up it. All right. So we're moving in the right direction. All right. I'm good with that. I'm gonna up my rating now because we didn't have a white savior. I guess I never.
It didn't.
I never thought about that.
Because
Bruno was not the white savior in this.
No,
at all.
he
Not
didn't
at
even
all,
have
not
like
at all,
amazing
not at all.
tech.
Yeah,
I thought he was
right.
gonna be our
He's
amazing
almost
tech
comic
guy.
relief. He's
He
almost
is.
a
He
comic
really
relief.
is.
He
He's
is.
just there to like. He's just there to like her.
Yeah.
And you know he helped. But
And I
he
didn't have a
help
problem
out.
with Bruno.
Oh. That's what I was gonna say. Chloe or Zoe, she just came out of nowhere. That's
Well,
my only
she's
problem
always
with
been
her.
there. She's watching Kamala. She became a fan. She's
She
like,
did, but
she's
like
like,
when
I
she
knew
just
it was
popped up
you.
at school, like I'm here. I was like, what? Where you been? I understand her brother. Mom sent me to watch you. I just need to make sure everything's okay. I get that. This little girl just popped up. I'm not saying I wasn't here for Zoe. I liked her.
Zoe's
about it.
like, yo, after you saved my life, I've been a stalker ever since.
Right.
I used the internet.
Which is dope. Which is
I
dope.
used
Which-
the internet to know
yeah,
where you were. You
right,
told
which
people
is
on the
dope.
internet, I'm there.
Yeah.
Imagine growing up in the being a teenager in the world of superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, that must be
And you got the internet.
fascinating. Right. That must be
I would
amazing.
be in there building myself a suit just like Riri.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would be
because-
like, I gotta get in there. Somebody's gonna give me a job.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do it. I can do it.
Right. And either one of you all pointed it out was like, this was kind of the first time we got where we don't spend most of the series with them hating superheroes. And then at the end, we reveal like, oh, okay, you did something good. It was like, no, we all for this. This is the universe. This is the world we live in.
Mhm.
So in the
Now
age of Twitter and in the major social media and smartphones and everything, to have people literally flying around the world and doing amazing stuff, it would be like, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like your admiration of superheroes. You're just excited to see what happens next.
Right,
Like, what's gonna
right.
happen next?
Right.
Like half of us disappeared 5 years ago.
Right.
Half of
Right?
us were gone.
My older sibling is now my younger sibling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're
Ooh, you know what?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
forgot about the Snapchat. So it's
Yeah,
like I
Snapchat,
wondered.
Yeah.
I wondered because like Kamala and her brother have a huge age difference. And I know that the dad said that they struggled to have another baby. I was just wondering, like, is it extra time because she
Because
snapped and he didn't?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, so
You know, people don't talk about the Snapchat too, and it makes sense why people don't. It's the most tragic event in human
God.
history.
yeah,
Like
God,
people just
yeah.
disappeared.
right. Then just came back 5 years later in the position that they were in. So if you were flying in the airport, like, you just dropped out of the sky when it was reversed.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
these are all things.
That's-
So
these
the
are
world,
all-
the world
these
is
are all-
healing, right? The world is
The world is still
healing.
healing. Yep.
From
Yeah.
the MCU. Yeah, we haven't gotten over that.
Yep.
And
So,
you would have
and
to
then you
imagine,
had
yeah.
this other creature, the celestial being coming out of nowhere, and you heard about it. You're like, what? With the Eternals.
Yeah.
And you like then you find out these 11 guy-like creatures are living amongst us. They could have stopped all of this stuff. People
And they
probably
did
feel a certain
nothing.
type of way.
Right.
Then you hear about the Wanda incident.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
like-
So that's what I'm saying. Right. So it's
Yeah,
like,
so it's
when
like
Courtney was talking to her, it's like,
Mhm.
so now we gotta start. It's got to be in people's mind. It was like, what's to stop them from doing this again? Like, we at least
Yeah.
need to know who they are.
yeah.
That and like the whole conversation that they have about the destruction of buildings and cars and businesses and
God.
residential. Like people are just getting caught in the crossfire between superpower battles and lives are being lost. So
Right.
that's why I think we're going into the age of where superheroes are going to
Yeah,
become
we're in the age of
And
pariahs.
magic right now. Magic
yeah,
to the
it,
multiverse, and then it's
yeah.
gonna be the mutants. Yeah, but think about it. We just watched Doctor Strange just fight. What's
Or
his
the
name?
age
The
of
guy with the
chaos.
eyeball.
Yeah.
And watch them split a bus in half. We
Yeah.
just watched that. Like
Yeah.
that happened
So
before Kamala. That's in New York. They're in
right,
Jersey City.
right.
You
So the
know,
fear is not like it's
it's not.
plausible.
It's
It's
plausible.
reasonable, right?
It's
It's
Hmm.
like,
reasonable.
yeah, it's
You
not like,
know,
oh, I'm being an ass. I was like, no, they just killed my brother or
there
wiped out
was
a
this
whole town, right?
there was this show on Fox, and it was set within the world of, I think it was set within the world of Marvel. And it
Hmm.
was the superhero uh insurance company, who people were buying
Yes.
insurance. People
Yes.
were buying
Oh, sure
insurance.
show.
It was with Mila Kunis, I think, was in it.
Yes, it was.
And it was like people were buying insurance because they were getting caught up in so many like superhero things, losing everything, that this insurance company was trying to, like, capitalize on. You need to buy superhero insurance in case, like,
Right,
the Hulk lands on your car. you know
right.
you remember that? Like, so I just thought
I mean, I don't.
I
I
like that
mean, like
show.
all those things are real. It's like, yeah, like yeah,
Powerless.
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 and it makes
Yeah.
sense that they would be offering a
Vanessa
show called
Hudgens
Powerless.
Vanessa Hutchins. Vanessa
was
Hutchins.
yeah. Yeah. That show should have worked. That show
It should
should have.
have worked. I think it just came at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
Mm-hmm.
ahead of its time.
Because I think I would give me some. I'd give me some superhero
I
insurance.
It's
sure
based on
would.
DC. It's based on
It's
DC
DC.
Comics.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
'cause I'd
talking
be
about
like, yeah,
Batman and Superman and like
Wonder
Dark
Woman.
Side, Wonder Woman. Like,
yeah. Okay. All right, so we gotta wrap this up, guys. So,
Okay.
Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out, man?
no, I'm excited for what more Marvel can give us. I like these bite-sized shows because they're long movies. It's like they gave us 6 hours of Kamala, and I really enjoyed all 6 hours of her. Um, her show was an hour, right? Was it an hour?
Yeah.
It's about,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and I enjoyed all 6 hours of her. They could have made it 2 hours, and I would have liked it, but I really fell in love with this character. I really did, and I think this and Moon Knight proved this why you need to do sometimes like this, because basically they just gave us a movie for 6 hours,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed all of it. I kind of wish they made Shang-Chi this way. Shang-Chi was a 2.5 hour movie. I could have done 6 hours of Shang-Chi.
You know, you're not wrong on that one. I think
Hmm.
I think Shang-Chi would have benefited from the longer um amount of time to tell the story,
Yeah.
as opposed to what we were given, which was just this 2 hour. I understand you want to introduce the first Asian superhero in
Big
a
screen.
big tent pole movie. I
Hmm.
totally get that. But in terms of storytelling, they did a good job with the 2 hours that
Hmm.
they had, but I think it would have, he at
Yeah.
least needed a TV series. He needed a companion series.
He did. He hopefully they'll give him both. He'll get that and another movie on top of, because he's a very interesting character, and he has bracelets too. And are they just conduits for him as well?
Oh,
There's
that's
some.
interesting, because they're probably similar to hers.
Yes.
So they did look similar to hers.
Yes. 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 So I'm wondering if that's it. Even Moon Knight with his little bracelet around his chest, that's like a bracelet. Everything's very circular. If you notice, from the Eternals, everything is very circular that they use now. And I wonder if that has any meaning or substance.
Wait, but his little moon didn't do anything. That
No,
was
it's a
on his
Batman,
chest.
but it has power in it. It gives him power. Apparently, in the Moon Knight comics, it has power attached to it.
Oh, so that was the power that the god. Who's the god that we're? Anyways, we all
Yeah,
tangent
yeah,
again.
yeah. But yeah, that's
We
just
just
it.
keep talking.
Let me stop.
This is
Stop,
especially
stop,
when
stop,
it's a
stop, stop.
superhero show.
Stop,
You know what I
stop.
mean? It's like we just gotta put our hands up.
Nerds,
We just gotta be
superhero
done.
nerds.
We can just
We've
keep
kind of
talking.
geeked out on this. We've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
We did.
So
geek out
Courtney,
on this.
you
We did.
do you have any last words, ma'am?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you? Yes. You have any last words.
No.
Okay.
Geek out and good night. Or I would.
All right.
I can't say that because we're not nighttime. It's daytime. Have a good day.
Good day. Yeah.
Well, on that number, we will be back Wednesday at our normally scheduled time. We're going to be reviewing Paper Girl. So tune in for that. If you're watching this on YouTube, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. And we're also on Facebook and Twitter. So like us there. We are the Geekish Network. BingeWorthy podcast on the Geekish Network. The Geekish Network is designed to provide content for people of color in the sci-fi, fantasy, comic book era. Black geeks, Latino geeks, Asian. We're doing this for people who look like you. And we've got a bevy of talent working on this network. We've got technical people, we've got producers, we've got actors, we've got actresses, we've got writers, directors. And we do this all to provide content for people who look like you. So please support us. As always, we want to give a shout out to Digital Click. They provide the surroundings and everything to keep us looking beautiful and fly so we can keep delivering you this great content. So tune back in Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Pacific time. And we're going to be talking about Paper Girls. So until then, we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.